They're not all millionaires.
I don't care.
And there's no press, there won't be any coverage of the evening.
I don't care.
And I could only book the worst band in the world.
They're a great band, and I don't care about any of it. You got here.
And I'm never leaving again. I don't care about the job or New York or anything. I don't care about anything that isn't you.
Senor Cienfuegos, the party is still happening.
We'll look after the fireworks.
Sky's here, and these are my other two dads.
Of course, it takes 3 great men to create such a woman. It's a pleasure to be of service.
My God, Sophie. Look what you've done with the place.
She wanted to make her mum proud.
As if she hasn't done that all her life.
Okay, and that's a clip from Mamma Mia. Here we go again. I'm delighted to say Pierce Brosnan and Amanda Seyfried are here drinking coffee. How are you?
Well, very good, Simon. Good day.
Very nice to see you, Pierce. Very nice to see you, Amanda. Are you happy with the coffee?
I'm really happy with it, yeah.
Yes? Okay. Can we get you anything else, Pierce?
My spaghetti bolognese, I'd like that.
A spaghetti
Spag.
bolognese.
Spag bog. Have some spag bog, love. Here you go. Not a spag bog.
Didn't know about that.
Did you not know about Spaggy Bob?
No, but I
Spaggy Bob.
really would also care for some Spaggy Bob as well.
If Spaggy Bob. Okay, well, if Pierce makes it, then maybe that's...
All right.
Anyway, I just want to talk about your film, if that's all right, because my general belief as I was walking down to do this interview is this movie has come at exactly the right time. Because if your view of the world is that it's all a little bit stressful at the moment, then Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again has arrived just for you. The doctors should be able to prescribe this film. You
Good.
should go and see it on prescription.
Oh,
Thank
what do you
you.
say?
what a wonderful thing to say, Simon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just some distraction, a little bit of ABBA, some spandex, some Pierce dancing.
I do think it's entered the stage at a very good time in life because it is so miserable out there with the politics that's happening in America and the country and the leaders all around the world too. It's just crazy what they're doing to our earth. But Mamma Mia 2 was a delight to make. I mean, it was just such a wonderful reunion after 10 years of being apart from each other.
Because you said about the first film, Pierce, it was criminal how much fun we had. Mm-hmm. So does that hold for the second one as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. We're on the island of Viz.
Oh, Croatia? Are you kidding? It's like we went and did some rehearsals separately in London, and then we all reunited in Croatia, which doesn't happen very often in life.
No, that's right.
In work.
So the island is Viz in Croatia.
In Croatia, yeah. It was a tiny island, and they really just embraced us and let us onto the island and let us into their homes. My wife, Keely, and I had a little apartment right there on the seafront, and all the kids had come by and say hello to James Bond. I'd had my own little glee party of kids out there, and oh my God, and the film was right on our doorstep.
Yeah, fantastic.
So, and just this remarkable, enthusiastic cast of players.
So the film is like a wraparound, really. It's a prequel and a sequel all happening at the same time. Amanda, just explain where the story is and where you take us in this
Well,
film.
Sophie and Sam live on the island now. We've had quite a year, and we're trying to renovate the Villa Donna and reopen it, have this grand reopening. And all these people from all around the world are coming, the dads and my friends, and it starts out there, and I'm pregnant, and we're in a different stage in our lives, both of us really, and then you kind of go back and get some context, how Donna and Sam fell in love, and we keep cutting back to the present. It's really clever, actually.
I thought they did a magnificent job on bringing all these storylines together, prequel, sequel.
Yeah.
And it grabs you. It's a very emotional film, actually. It's emotional on very many levels. For me as an actor within it, watching Amanda grow up as a young woman, become a mother in those 10 years, having worked with her 10 years ago when she was a young lass, and now here she is a young lass still, but a mother. And all of the actors that you know have got different stories. And we became a company 10 years ago. And so there's a real lovely support system, I feel.
There was such a connection made, and I feel like I relate to everybody so much differently now because I'm a little bit closer to them. There was such a difference in age back when I was 21, and now I feel like I can relate differently to everybody, and the bonds just got deeper. There's a lot more depth in this story too, and we get to know people better than we did the first time around, the characters, and you can feel how much we love each other in real life in the movie.
Was it always a sequel that was going to happen? I mean, the first movie was so huge. At one stage, it was the highest-grossing film in UK cinema history. The critics weren't interested, but as far as the public were concerned, they absolutely
matters,
loved it.
yes.
So that was just a question, presumably, of logistics, of getting everybody back together.
I think it was a story too. How do you tell the story?
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't. Everybody would ask over the years, and I'd be like, I don't think so. But then Ole came up with something kind of amazing.
But it was Richard Curtis, actually. It was Richard Curtis's
his daughter. Oh, Scarlett was like,
She was
what
the one.
about this? Why don't we go back in time
Yeah.
and cut 2 and 2 together? And then Richard and Ole took that, and we were
Right.
like, you're a genius.
Is Ole Parker, who's the director and writer.
Ole
Yes,
Parker, yeah. And then Richard and Ole kind of went away for a week or so
Yep.
up in the country
That's
and
right.
came back with that.
That's it. That was it. It was
Scarlett Curtis.
Yeah, Scarlett Curtis. She said, "Why don't you do a Godfather too?"
No,
That was it. That was her quote to her dad driving in the car to work one day, and so it sprang out of that idea. Flashback.
Because with the title "Here We Go Again," it was just it was made. It was waiting to happen.
Wasn't
It was
it?
waiting for a story to come in there. Absolutely. Just back on the first film, was there a moment where it dawned on you that it was going to be huge? Or were you just having a ball thinking, "Who knows what's going to happen to this?" Because Greatest Showman came out, the critics hated it. The audience absolutely love it, and it's been, one of the highest-grossing films of the year. And it was the same kind of thing for Mamma Mia.
I love Greatest Showman. I thought it was a wonderful film. I love Hugh Jackman and anything he does. He's fantastic. I don't think any of us thought the first time round that it was going to go through the stratosphere the way it did. I think Judy Kramer was as surprised as we all were.
She was the producer.
Yes, I mean, the show ran on in the West End for so many years, and I remember the night I saw it, it was packed to the rafters, and packed to the rafters with people who just didn't go to the theatre. They travelled from the North Country and Scotland down to London to see Mamma Mia.
Was it any less nerve-wracking to do the singing and the dancing? I'm looking at Pierce particularly.
Thank you.
In the second one?
Yeah, second time round.
Terrifying singing. This beautiful woman here sings like an angel and has such a gorgeous voice
But
and does it with
luckily,
such effortless ease.
Thank you. We get to do it in the studio, which is so much less intimidating, because then they can kind of help us out if we need it. Like I'm sure I was a bit pitchy, and I needed some help. So
You were a bit pitchy.
I think I had some flats and some sharps, and I think I don't in the movie because they fixed it in the studio.
I could never tell myself, really.
Really?
Whether I was flat, sharp, or anything. I was just sinking it all. I remember doing Dancing Queen. I didn't really learn the lines. I just thought we're doing Dancing Queen because we'd been doing it for weeks and weeks, and then we came to a particular moment when you and I are together, and suddenly I started getting notes. I don't think you're saying the correct lines here.
Oh my God, we didn't even learn the song. It's like you
no.
think you know it, but
Yes.
you don't. Except Martin kept coming up to me too.
Yeah. Dancing Queen.
That's beautiful.
It is. That's my
lovely.
singing.
I think it's great, and I think it works.
And Pierce, in this movie, we get Jeremy Irvine playing the younger you.
Yes.
What was that like, seeing somebody, I presume that's never happened to you before, seeing someone who's supposed to be you, but like 25, 30 years ago?
Well, I didn't really get to work with Jeremy because my scenes were with Amanda. But Jeremy and I met at the beginning of the show down at Shepperton Studios. We sat in the dressing room and had cups of tea and biscuits and talked stories about being an actor and just hung out and talked about doing the movie 10 years prior and all the fears and joys of doing it and singing and dancing. And it was very easy. He was an easy guy to get on with.
Yeah.
And they all were, impeccable young performers.
Did he do a good version of the younger you?
He did a great version of me, I thought. I thought he was great. He does a good impersonation of me. I mean, he doesn't do it in the movie, but I think he got a few of the shadow moves here and there.
Is that right? Because this is about the time you were doing kind of Long Good Friday and Professionals. Would that be right? I was just trying to work out his age and what the age that you were at that time.
Yes, I
Kind of stuff you
think
were
Long
doing.
Good Friday. Long Good Friday was my first film. Yes, first time on film. So it would have been around that same time, age-wise.
He was a good-looking lad.
He's a good-looking lad.
So-
He is indeed.
Do you think you got the Irish coming out there?
He's got Irish coming out of everywhere. Just
really?
depends on the moment. I love it.
And
Yes.
yes.
Is this
Anyway.
movie, and this is for people who haven't seen it? I've seen it and had an absolute blast. Could you say this is as flamboyant, more flamboyant, on the flamboyant stakes? Where is Mamma Mia? Here we go again.
It has its moments.
It has its moments of grandeur and outrageous flair, but above all else, it has a real heart. You have, I mean, Amanda, you do carry this. You are the heart of this movie. You really do. Everything springs from your heartbeat and your soul as Sophie. So it's glorious to see what you've done, how
Thanks.
you've grown up. And
I
how
gotta
you-
say, I think I would have come at it just a tiny bit differently if I didn't have a daughter myself. Or a child myself. It's really important in that mother-daughter relationship that is the heart of this movie. It kind of
Yes. Well, at the end,
Perfect for
too,
me.
when you come in to the church, and, that's a crusher of gorgeousness and emotion.
And you think it changed the way you played the role?
Yeah, I think so. I think it. There's a lot. Yeah, I related to it differently.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was delighted to see this movie and to do this interview because Ethan Hawke was on the show, and we talked about First Reformed. And I have to say, in terms of a mood at the end of when you walk out of First Reformed, and a mood when you come out of Mamma Mia 2, it is not possible to think of movies that are further apart.
I know.
But a fantastic film, and
So
what,
good.
and an amazing film,
I know.
which everybody needs to see. And Ethan Hawke, a great leading man.
He really is at his best. Paul Schrader and Ethan Hawke are the perfect duo. I mean, they created something insane and such a good conversation piece,
Yeah. So there's a couple of Amanda Seyfried movies that you can see, and you could do an Amanda Seyfried double bill. But I would say First Reformed first, and then go and see Mamma Mia. Here we go
Yeah,
again.
you need a little bit of a drink afterwards.
Yes, that's right.
And
Yes,
this
you
is
do.
a real tall drink of fizzy.
What is it?
cocktail.
What is it that he's drinking in that final scene? Anyway, we don't
I
need to
just
do
a
that.
little death.
Pierce, what do we see you in next?
That's a good question. Martin Campbell and I are going to go off and make a movie in Venice here in August. It's an Ernest Hemingway story called Across the River into the Trees.
In Venice, Italy.
In Venice, Italy, yes. So it's a
so
Hemingway
lucky.
story. He wrote the book about 10 years after For Whom the Bell Tolls, and he took a lot of criticism for it. It's about an aging colonel who's dying. And so we're going to do that.
It's
in
similar to
Venice.
Mamma Mia.
It does.
Very
No
similar.
singing.
What do we see you in next,
That's
Amanda?
amazing. I just finished The Art of Racing in the Rain, which is a book from the perspective of a dog that was really big when it came out about 10 years ago. I just wrapped it, and I think it's really good. And then I'm going to be in Europe as well at the same time, probably, in London doing
You should hook up
The
for some
Riller.
spag bol.
Well, I'm
As cooked by
definitely.
Pierce.
I told Colin I was going to definitely be back here, and Simon Curtis, who directed me just now, is going to be here, and I'm working with Kevin Bacon, so we're all going to be together.
Hey,
Spag
So
bol
when
and
you
Kevin
come over
Bacon.
from Venice,
Nice.
we'll have some spag bob.
Spag Bog it is then.
All right.
There you go, folks.
Pierce and Amanda, thank you so much.
Like, what a horrible name for something.
Spaghetti bolognese, folks.
I know.
But Spag Bog, to us who love Spag Bog.
Pierce and Amanda, thank you so much.
See you, mate.
Thanks.